Have you ever walked away from a conversation just feeling completely drained or confused? Maybe even like invisible? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to decode the 9 critical signals of narcissism that pop up in just everyday talk. And by the end of this, you'll have a much better toolkit for understanding and, navigating these really complex interactions. Wow. This quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We're not just talking about simple arrogance here. The clinical reality is actually way more chilling. So think of it like this. It's a profound case of stunted emotional growth, a high-tech, high-resolution fortress built to hide this deep, invisible emptiness inside. That idea alone completely reframes the entire issue for us.
All right, so let's start with that feeling. Let's call it the drain. It's a surprisingly universal experience, and honestly, it's our very first clue that you might be dealing with this particular personality style.
I mean, look at this. It captures that feeling perfectly, right? That sense of being completely ignored, even when you're standing right there. The source material has a great name for this. It calls it a stagnant water story. Basically, you get trapped in their world, in their narrative, and you're the one paying the emotional price. This feeling? This is our way in. This is how we start to crack the code. So, okay, how does this draining feeling actually manifest when you're talking to someone? Let's break down the 9 key signals that explain this really confusing behavior, and we'll focus on how they show up in just regular, everyday conversations. 9. That's the magic number. This is our framework. 9 distinct, observable signs. On their own, some of them might seem kind of harmless, maybe just a little quirky. But when you start to see them pop up together, they paint a very, very clear picture. We're going to break them down into 3 clusters. Okay, our first cluster is all about their self-perception. First up, we have the self-fabrication monologue. This is when they're not really listening to you. They're performing for you. Second, the pedestal. This is where they cozy up to people with high status, almost like they're trying to borrow their shine. And third, the belittling defense. If they feel threatened by your talent or success, they'll just attack you to feel superior again. Now, the second cluster. This shows you their social game. Number 4 is an extreme hostility to any criticism. I mean, the smallest comment can trigger an absolute tantrum. 5 is exploitation without remorse. They just use people and there's zero guilt. And number 6, the ego-building betrayal. For them, cheating isn't really about the affair itself, it's more about the rush of power and control it gives them. And this final cluster, it's maybe the most disturbing. It's their totally distorted view of reality. Number 7. A bottomless addiction to admiration. They literally need to be worshipped. 8. The attractiveness delusion, where they genuinely believe they're just too good for other people. And number 9, the most insidious of all, gaslighting. This is that terrifying tactic where they manipulate you until you start doubting your own sanity, which gives them complete control. So here's something that's absolutely crucial to understand. These 9 signals, they aren't random quirks. They all work together as a very coherent strategy. It's like a subconscious playbook for social dominance and, ultimately, for exploitation. And this slide shows you exactly how that playbook works. It's a cycle. First, they diminish you with those belittling attacks. Then, they deceive you with gaslighting to take control of your reality. And finally, they disregard you, exploiting you without an ounce of guilt. It's a clear, predictable, and absolutely devastating cycle of control. But why, right? Why does this pattern even exist? To really get that, we have to go back in time and look at how this emotional fossil was formed in the first place. This image of a child trapped inside an adult is just a perfect illustration of what Dr. Ramani calls the Jell-O mold analogy. See, for most of us, our personalities kind of set like Jell-O in our mid-20s. But for a narcissist, that mold hardened way, way too early, essentially trapping a child's tantrums and deep insecurities inside a grown-up body. And a huge reason for this arrested development is often found right here, in this stark contrast between unconditional and conditional love. A healthy upbringing is really rooted in I love you, period. But a narcissist development is so often shaped by I love you if you win the game, or I love you when you make me look good. So this conditional parenting, it forces the child to create what's called a false self. The child learns that their value isn't inherent, it only comes from performance. They become this little performing pony, always internalizing their parents' needs until their own inner world is just left completely empty and undeveloped, just like you see here. Okay, we've covered the what and the why.
Now we get to the most important part. What can you actually do about it? This last section is all about protecting yourself with a really practical tool.
Okay, please hear this. This is so important. Understanding their painful history might make you feel empathy, and that's human. But as Dr. Romani warns, it is never, ever a justification for you to endure their abuse. You cannot fix them. You just can't.
So here is that tool. It's called the 24-hour reset. Think of it like mental hygiene. It's super simple. Step 1, identify the abusive thought that pops into your head, like, this is all my fault. Step 2, test it. Ask yourself, where will believing this thought lead me in the next 24 hours? If the honest answer is just more self-blame and feeling awful, then you go straight to step 3. Drop the thought. Just let it go.
The big takeaway is this. Your job is not to be the guardian of their trauma. You are not the full-time manager of their out-of-control emotions. You are the owner of your own actions and your own mental space. It's time to stop replaying their stagnant water story in your own head.
And that's pretty much the code decoded. It's not your burden to carry anymore. It's a broken script, and you now have the power to just stop reading from it. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What stagnant water story, what toxic narrative that someone else wrote for you, will you finally stop replaying starting today?